What's up, guys? I want to talk about the biggest game of the year thus far, and even before Nick Saban got COVID. Hope he does well, recovers. Got yesterday, or it was confirmed yesterday they got it. Test positive, asymptomatic, or what another writer said is he doesn't have symptoms yet. It's probably a Corona bro who said that, but whatever. Kind of surprised he got it out of everybody. Best coach in all of football, past, present, future. I was really shocked he got it, but he said he coached Zoom, used the Zoom to coach the team from Zoom, whatever you call it. I just picture him, on the big jumbotron in the stadium, on Zoom, yelling at players as they're practicing. You gotta drive them, looking down like a godlike figure. But said he was the best coach in college football. I think he is. I mean, they won their first title with him coaching in 2009, and they're not done yet. I don't know when they're going to be done. I don't think they're going to be done until he retires. But I don't think you'll ever see that kind of run of dominance. I don't think you're going to see it with Clemson. I don't think you're going to see it with Ohio State, and those are really the only two, in my opinion, that are capable of doing it and sustaining that year in and year out. But let's get back to the game. There's an old analogy in baseball that great pitching beats great hitting any day of the week. And that's because the pitcher knows what he's doing, knows what he's throwing. The hitter's got to guess at it. I feel that applies to the football in all instances, but definitely this instance in particular. Yes, Georgia has an elite level defense. I saw them in person last week. They are elite in all three levels of the defense. Defensive line, linebacking crew, and DBs. And they can rotate guys in each of those three levels and not have any drop off. That's how well Kirby Smart is recruited at Georgia, and that's how well he's coaching. Some of these guys are only 3-star recruits. He's got them playing at all SEC caliber levels. As good as that defense is, Alabama's offense is also an elite level offense. So I think that analogy for baseball applies. The offense of Alabama knows what they're running. Georgia's got to stop it. And Georgia can do that to pretty much everybody else, and I think they're going to do that to an extent with Alabama. But can they do it for a whole game? And can they do it if the offense isn't helping them out? You see, when they talk about this game, everyone's talking about the Alabama offense versus the Georgia defense. This game is going to be won by the Georgia offense versus the Alabama defense. I know Alabama gave up 1 million freaking yards to Ole Miss last week. Georgia's not Ole Miss. Yes, they got better players, but they don't run that kind of offense. Lane Kiffin was having them snap the ball with 28 seconds left on the play clock. Alabama was running dudes onto the field still, and they were throwing to wide open guys. You're not going to see that Saturday. That's not the type of offense Georgia runs. Georgia has the players to hang with Alabama. The problem is the quarterback. I know, Stetson Bennett, the mailman. Everybody loves him. They love the story. 4th-string QB who was a walk-on left, came back on a scholarship. Oh, that's great. That's great. He's like Rudy, for Christ's sake. He's awesome. Cool dudes. He seems like a cool dude. Seems awesome. And I was, like I said, I was there last Saturday. I think he played well. He can scoot. He can get out of the pocket under pressure, throw on the run, make plays. I didn't think Jake Fromm could do that. If Jake Fromm was escaping the pocket, very rarely was he making a throw downfield. He'd just throw it out of bounds, avoid the sack, like a good game manager does. And that's basically what Stetson Bennett is with a little extra. But can Stetson Bennett win this game? He needs to play mistake-free ball. Stats are broken down that quarterbacks who beat Alabama averaged 280 yards passing and about 70 to 80 yards rushing. Well, Stetson Bennett needs to add 50 yards for this game to his rushing stats per game and about 30 to 40 yards per game to his passing stats to do it. He's also got to make sure he doesn't throw any picks, no fumbles. Georgia has to basically play mistake-free football. That means, unlike last week when the defense gave him 2 turnovers in plus territory, the Georgia offense shot themselves in the foot. And in one drive, brought them way back, but they ended up kicking 2 field goals. That's not going to beat Alabama. You got to have mistake-free ball, no penalties, and score touchdowns. So can they do it? I really don't see it happening, but it's possible. I don't think Stetson Bennett's an elite-level quarterback, and that's what you need to beat Alabama. So let's go over some of these teams who've beaten Alabama. Hasn't happened very often in recent memory. So let's go back. 2008, right before they won their first championship in 2009, they lose to the eventual national championship Florida Gators. QBs were Chris Leak and Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow went on to win the Heisman Trophy. We'll get to more of that in a second. So let's go over a couple other games. Cam Newton, 2010. Alabama got a huge lead. Cam Newton brought the Tigers back and won the game. They eventually won the national championship. Cam Newton won a Heisman. This past season, they played Joe Burrow in the greatest offense of all time. Joe Burrow won the Heisman. They lost the national championship. Trevor Lawrence, he hadn't won the Heisman yet, but the dude is an elite level quarterback. So that is 3 elite level quarterbacks right there. Cam Newton, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence. They lost, I think it was the 2013 season, the year of the kick six. They went to the Sugar Bowl, the 2014 Sugar Bowl versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma's quarterback was Trevor Knight. I don't believe he was an elite level nationally quarterback, but he was an elite level Big 12 quarterback. And what did he do in that game against the Tide? He played like an elite level quarterback. 348 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. 2010, Alabama travels to South Carolina. South Carolina had a great team that year. Jadeveon Clowney at defensive end. They held the Tide to 36 yards total rushing. Stephen Garcia wasn't never in the realm of possibility as an elite level quarterback, but he played like it that game. He went 17 for 20, only 200 yards passing, but 2 touchdowns. 17 for 20 is damn good. That's an excellent completion percentage, and that's something teams need from their QBs when you're playing Alabama. Marcus Lattimore also rushed for 100 yards that game, and the leading receiver was NFL first-round draft pick Alshon Jeffrey with 127 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. So the team got an elite-level performance on defense, holding the Tide to 36 yards rushing. How often does that happen under Nick Saban? And they also had an elite-level performance from their offense. See, that's kind of the caveat, and I'll get to more of that in a second. If you're not going to be an elite-level QB, you got to play like one. So they lost to Auburn twice. I referenced the 2013 kick six. I don't think the QB for Auburn was an elite level, but he played like it that game. If you watch the highlights, he played at an elite level. Bo Nix didn't play at an elite level. They had an elite defense, and I still think Alabama should have won that game. Mac Jones threw 2 pick sixes, one of them inside the red zone. That'll hurt you. You can't give up 14 points to your arch rival in a rivalry game. Throw the records out the windows, but whatever. That game last year was the first example I can think of where Alabama didn't lose to an elite level QB or someone who played like it. You remember when I talked about the Heismans? Yeah, they lost another game to Johnny Manziel the year he won the Heisman at Texas A&M. I actually talked about that in another video. So the moral of the story is Georgia has the defense to win this game. I don't think they've got the horses on offense, and by horses I basically just mean QB. I don't think they've got Georgia caliber type running backs this season, but they're good enough to win this game. Just think it's going to be Stetson Bennett. I have a feeling this game is going to go the way the SEC championship game went last year. Georgia's D keeps him in the game, keeps it extremely respectable first half. Second half, they're continuously put in bad situations and on the wrong side of the field, and Alabama only needs 1 or 2 chances to go up 14 points and make a very close game look a little uglier than it really was on the field. So I'm predicting Alabama to win this game. I said on our Facebook College Football Road Trip Crew and Discussion Group, I said that it was going to be like 36-12. I think it's going to be a little different. I think it's going to end up being like 30 or maybe 33. Let's go 33-23. I think Georgia's going to score a couple times. I'm ready for the Alabama dynasty to end. I'd like to see Georgia win this game, but really, either team can lose this game, and it kind of doesn't matter. They're probably going to, well, not probably, I still think Florida's going to win the East, but they might play again in the SEC championship game. One-loss Georgia goes in, plays an undefeated Alabama in the SEC championship game, and wins, and they're in. Same as 2 years ago, the 2018 SEC championship game. It's a win and you're in game. The SEC championship games, ever since the playoffs have been in existence, has been a de facto semifinal game. It is what it is. In the age of COVID, that's what it is. Speaking of COVID, Florida and LSU is postponed. Kind of thought Florida was poised to take another loss this week until I found out Miles Brennan was hurt. He probably wasn't going to play in this game anyway. So maybe it's a good idea to postpone it for the sake of both teams. LSU will be healthy. Florida's got some time to fix third and Grantham, so we'll see what happens. But they just couldn't get off the field on third downs last week. So, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the games. Hit the like and subscribe button and join our Facebook group. You'll be pleased to know there's a lot of coronavirus experts on there. So, hope you enjoy it. Take care, guys.